Hello, this is Diane from Stamping with Diane in Innisfil, Ontario, and I am coming to you today showing some tricks about using our watercolor pencils to blend colors. Today's card is going to pair the Decorative Border set with the Kind and Sincere stamp set, which really provides a variety of sentiments. So today's card, we're going to start with the Petal Pink, and I thought I'm just going to show you how I usually take my full sheet of cardstock, put it at the 4 1/4, then I score the entire sheet, turn 90 degrees, place it at the 5 1/2, and use my cutting blade, and now I quickly and easily have 2 card bases to use for my project. The next thing is I'm going to use a piece of our Country Gingham Designer Series paper, which also there's quite a selection of this Petal Pink paper. So is this the one I want to use? No, hang on here. So there's a wide variety of patterns here, simple patterns, ginghams, in the same colors, and then the flip side of those, we've got the blue and the balmy blue and the mint macaron on the back side. So I think I will use this design with the kind of diagonal gingham pattern. So as you know, it is 6 by 6, and I'm going to be using this for my front layer, so I want it to be 5 1/4 by 4. So 5 1/4, I turn to the 4" and cut up there. And then I'm also going to cut a 1/2" strip to use on the inside of the card. So I'll just slice that off at the same time. All right, I've used the bone folder and scored and folded that over. And now I have a piece, a 2 1/4 by 4 of basic white, and then a 1/4" larger of the Petal Pink, and that's going to frame that out. And from our decorative borders, I'm using this beautiful image, and I've chosen the basic black, the Memento black ink, and because it's a photopolymer stamp set, I've used my piercing mat underneath just to give that little bit of pressure there, that just gorgeous, allows for that nice clean image. Now we're going to be coloring that, and it will be mounted onto here, but the other stamping we're going to do, I've got a piece of white. Now our other stamp set, the Kind and Sincere, is not a photopolymer, so I've removed that, and I'm going to put the word Kind across the center, and I've chosen the soft suede. Now you don't want halos showing. The halo is the extra bit. Sometimes ink gets on there, so I'm going to really tap lightly, check, and make sure it looks like I've got good coverage without any ink on the edges. And I'm going to press that into the center without a wiggle, no wiggling, and hope that I've got a nice, perfect dark image there. Now this stamp set has so many extra words, but I want it to say so very much kind doesn't make sense. So I'm just going to say so very kind. So I could use some masking paper on here, but what I'm going to do is just ink the words so and very by going across the bottom. Again, check. Doesn't look like I quite have that Y on the very, and that looks good. So as I say, you could certainly use some masking paper there, and I'm just going to come in here and again hope that I don't have any of those halos showing. Great. And now I'm going to take a circle and I'm going to die cut that. This is one of our layering circles, And I'm going to take the next larger size, which has the scallop edge, and we're going to die cut that in the petal pink. So those came out nicely. That's from the Layering Circles dies, and there are 16 different dies there that all coordinate. So I'm just going to pop that together, and you may think that I didn't quite center. I've got the kind across the center, and I did purposely leave a space on the bottom, and you'll see why in a little bit. So the next thing I want to do is I'm actually going to take this piece of designer paper, and I thought it would be kind of fun just to give it a wee bit more texture. So we're going to run it through the Tasteful Textile. Now this is a 3D die, a 3D embossing folder. So I'm just going to pop it in here with the side that I want showing on my card, facing up under the Stampin' Up, and we'll run that through and see what it looks like. So opening this up, and I hope you can see there's just a fine texture to that, which is just going to add a little bit without taking away from the pattern of that paper. I really, really like that pattern as it is. So let's go ahead and attach that on, and you can see that it's the lovely balmy blue on the back. So this set of Country Gingham designer paper is really, really wonderful for your kind of springtime cards. Nice and bright neutral tones, great for Easter cards as well. All right, so let's set that to the side, and we're going to do some coloring. Now, not everyone has the full range of Stampin' Blends markers. I love them, but the watercolor pencils are a really, really great option if you're just getting started with coloring, or if you just don't want to invest right now in all of the Stampin' Blends. So here is a package of 10, and it's got our Stampin' Up colors and a really nice variety here. So I'm going to actually use 2 of the blues, the Coastal Cabana and the Balmy Blue, for our flowers. So some people don't, the pencil crayons maybe are not their first choice for coloring, because they say you can't really blend the colors. And although that's true in a sense, they don't quite blend the same way as our Stampin' Blends do. Let me just show you how you really can get a blended color. So you'll notice I'm using the Coastal Cabana, which is the darker, and just kind of going over some of the lines in the flowers that are already there. And now I'm coming in with Balmy Blue. You have to read, because this looks more like a Pacific Point to me, but the print on it says Balmy Blue. And I'm just kind of coming in and filling in that flower lightly, just kind of circling around the way I would with a Stampin' Blend. I always liked coloring as a child, so coloring is therapeutic for me. And just coming in around and filling in this flower. And I'll come back and fill some of that in a little bit later. And now I'm going to come in, this is the Granny Apple, and I'm not pressing very hard at all because I want these long leaves to be quite lightly colored, and any color combination is going to work well on this card with this with this design. The petal pink is quite neutral, and now I'm coming in, this is quite a bit darker, this is the Garden Green, and again I'm just kind of accenting those lines that are already on our stamps. Our Stampin' Up design team are fantastic at adding the detail to our stamps, so we just have to color them in. And let's make these little tiny kind of buds here. There we go. So I've just come back over the flowers with the lighter tone, with the Balmy Blue, and I'm doing the same now, just making sure I filled in as much of the white space as I can on the leaves. And again, I'm using the lighter. This is the Granny Apple. And just again, just filling in a little bit more of this white. But I still can see the darker garden green in there as well. Okay, there we go. So let me hold that up to the camera so you can see. You can see the differences in the colors there. And some people like it just like that. But let me show you how you can blend these colors. And this is using one of our blender pens. These come in a set of 3, and there's no color to them, but they do have a little bit of alcohol in them. And so I'm just painting over. Now stick to the same colors. So I'm sticking to the blues, and I'm just running around the blue with the blender pen, and that's exactly what it's doing. It's softening out and blending those 2 shades of blue. And this is an alternative to using a paintbrush with water, which you certainly could do. Now you see I've got a little bit of blue on the tip, so here's just a little piece of paper, and I just rub it back and forth until there's no more blue coming out. Now there is still blue on the tip. That's just a bit of staining there. It's not going to transfer. And now I'm moving over to my greens. And again, just following the same line that our design team has created for us. I'm going from the tip of the flower in towards the stem, and it's just blending that color a little bit more. Get rid of the green, and there we go. It's all gone. And let me show you how that looks. So watercolor pencils are a great price point, and yet yes, you really can still blend colors using the watercolor pencil crayons, okay? And of course, the other advantage to them is you can just use them as pencil crayons without adding the water or the alcohol in the blender pen. But I think that is beautiful. And by using the blender pen instead of actual water, it's not going to ripple my cardstock at all. Okay, so bringing back our card base, this is going to layer. Remember, we've embossed this. We've got a lovely label here saying "So Very Kind." So making sure that's going to fit really nicely into this curve. So let's go ahead and adhere these. There we go. So I've just used our seal to adhere those on. And remember, we had also cut a 1/2-inch strip, which I'd like to put down the inside of the card just to add a bit of interest. I don't often stamp the inside of my cards until I know exactly who I'm going to send them to and why. So I'm just going to put this little strip down the inside here, and then take my snips, turn it to the back so I get the nice straight edge there, and snip that little bit off. And we've got just a nice pattern here. Okay, what are we going to do here? Well, I have some of this beautiful fine art ribbon, which I think is on our clearance rack right now. And I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow with that. Okay, so here's my fine art ribbon bow, and I love this because it's got that, I thought it would match really nicely with the soft suede ink. So I could leave it like that, but here's another little trick. I thought I'm going to add a little bit of our, this is the linen thread, So I'm just going to do a short length of that linen thread. It doesn't need to be that long. Doubling it over, snip that off. So this is all I'm using, just a few inches. I'm going to run my finger along that to take some of the curl out. And now halfway through, I'm just going to tie a little knot in this. Just a little knot in the center. This original card design, I was inspired by something I saw by Chris Lang, and so I've taken Chris's idea and just modified it a little bit. All right, what am I going to do with this? Well, I've got a knot here now. I'm going to snip this, and I can use my scissors now to add a little bit of curl to these. And I thought this might look cute to kind of add a bit of extra detail. If I put that down first and then add my bow on top, it just gives a little bit softer look here. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have some of our mini glue dots. I always put a piece of ribbon around so that I know where my last glue dot is. Although, there, where is it? Guess I used a few. There we go. There it is. So I'm going to adhere that glue dot right into the center and put the knot on top. And now bring in my bow. Pick up a glue dot on the back of the bow. Just press and remove the glue dot and put that just on top. There we go. Now these are a bit long, so I'll snip those off. And I think that just kind of softens that up a little tiny bit, and it's just a way to add a little bit more to it. Okay, and finally we are going to embellish this card with the very beautiful gold adhesive backed swirls. And I think I should be using my Take Your Pick tool for this, but it's on the other side of my table right now. So just sliding some of these adhesive back. These are gorgeous gold swirls. Let's pop one up here. And let's take the last one and make it the dot on the word kind. Dot on the eye. Look at that. And there we have it. I hope you like this one, and I hope you see how you can use your pencil crayons to add detail and blending when you're coloring your cards. All right, so take care, my friends. I hope to see you again, and happy stamping, happy crafting. Bye for now.